This is an India Today exclusive. Joining me now is the member of the Taliban negotiation team, as also spokesperson for political affairs of the Taliban and spokesperson for international media for the Taliban, Mr. Suhail Shaheen. Many thanks for joining us here on India Today. There are a lot of developments when it comes to Afghanistan and how the Taliban and the Afghan government are really trying to come to the talking table and trying to negotiate peace within Afghanistan. But Mr. Shaheen, the biggest dichotomy over here is, on the one hand, you are talking, there are intra-Afghan talks that have kicked in, but on the other hand, within Afghanistan, you're warring factions, that the Taliban is fighting the Afghan administration is fighting the Taliban. How does this work?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem, amma ba'd. Yes, reaching a peaceful solution of the Afghan issue is our policy. That has been continuing for the last decade practically, and for the last 20 years, we are demanding that the peaceful solution of the Afghan issue, because we said time and again that the Afghan issue has no military solution. But right now, well, as you said about the fighting in Afghanistan simultaneously with the negotiation being underway in Doha right now, is because the head of the Kabul administration announced a 6-month military operation against us on the day of Eid. You may know about that. And after that, they started bombing our position, not only our position, but also they bombed hospital, clinics, schools, and markets of the common people. So it was our reaction. We reacted to his military operation, and then when we reacted, they started evacuating cities, provincial cities, and other cities, and we captured up to now 9 provincial cities.
Well, okay, let's just begin with the claims. Now, the Taliban is claiming 9 provincial cities, 9 provinces, and important areas in those provinces. But the Afghan administration is rejecting Taliban's claims, saying that the ground situation, the reality on the ground, is not as being projected by the Taliban. What's your reaction to that?
Our ground realities, we have evidence. Our forces are there. They have made videos of capturing those provincial cities. The people are happy. They are welcoming our forces. But on the other hand, the Kabul administration, they have resorted to bombing and hating, targeting the common people, the hospitals, and also the markets of the common people. And also they have resorted to spreading fake videos. You may have seen all those videos they have taken from Daesh, committed by Daesh, and some videos from the past years. They have made fake videos and spliced the videos with one another, and then now they are spreading that it is right now happening in areas under our administration. That these are the propaganda. So they do not know about the ground realities, because they are sitting in Kabul and they do not know. We are on the ground. We are the people. We are the people of Afghanistan who struggle for liberation of the country for the past 20 years.
But Suhail Saab, I'm just giving the counter argument. Now, the Afghan administration says the same thing about the Taliban, that if they are talking, then what's the need to capture areas? If the final resolution has to be that the Taliban has to be part of the Kabul administration, where is the need for the Taliban then to capture territories and ground as and when the US and NATO forces are withdrawing?
First, what was the need for the Kabul administration to announce a 6-month of military operation against us. What is the need of their saying of killing hundreds of Taliban members, as they claim, every day? So this started by them. They initiated the offensive, not we. We reacted. And secondly, we are not negotiation to be part of the Kabul administration. The negotiation is to agree on a new government, on a new political roadmap to replace this administration, a government which will be acceptable to all Afghans. That is the solution. It is not about surrendering to a government. It is about reconciliation. Reconciliation means that we will have a new government which everyone agrees on, and everyone has participation in that.
But when you speak about a new government, are we talking about a new government after elections, a democratically elected representation of the people of Afghanistan?
We are having a negotiation here in Doha, and that negotiation is for forming a new government, of reaching agreement about a new political roadmap. And political roadmap means to form a new government which will be acceptable to all parties.
In that roadmap, is election a part of that roadmap, Suhail sir?
Election can be an agenda from the other side, from anyone. We have our own agenda, they have their own agenda. They can bring it to the table of negotiation, and then there will be discussed. If we agreed, okay. If not, that will be another story.
Okay, coming to a very serious report, not just from the United Nations, but various other quarters, about fighting by the Taliban against the Afghan government. And they say that there are a lot of terror organizations, be it the Lashkar-e-Taiba, that also works against India, you may know, or for that matter, Taliban Pakistan, ISIS, Daesh, that they're all involved, Al-Qaeda, that they're all involved in part of this entire fight with the Taliban, and that Pakistan is fighting a proxy war.
This is a Kabul administration propaganda. When they are speaking about Daesh, the Daesh people, they surrendered about 2,600 to the Kabul administration last year. They are now in Kabul. They are sitting with them there. They are there. And about others, they are not present on the side of Afghanistan, because we have a commitment on the basis of the Doha Agreement that we will not allow any individual, any entity to use the soil of Afghanistan against any country of the world. So that is our commitment. We will not allow that, because we know it is important for us, for a new government, for peace and stability in the country, for reconstruction in the country. And this is important for our national interest. So that is our commitment. It is clear.
Honestly, Suhail Saab, when it comes to the role of Pakistan, where do you see Pakistan's role in the peace process? On the one hand, we talk about moving forward, but on the other, there are certain areas of concern that have been put forth by the international community also with regards to Pakistan's role. There are reports that suggest that Taliban fighters who are wounded, injured, are taken to Pakistani hospitals. That, on the one hand, they are in talks with the US and international community, but on the other hand, all the support and funding comes from the other side. Is there truth to the support that the Taliban, that you get from Pakistan?
As I know my ground realities here in Afghanistan, and I have been in jihad for the last 30 to 40 years here. So many of those allegations are made in India. So they have no basis. And also we do not want, and also that I think originating from rivalries of you against Pakistan. But the fact is, we are the liberation force. We are the people of Afghanistan. We were fighting against the occupation. It is our legitimate right to have a free country, independent country, as you have, as your people struggle against the British Raj. We have the same right. So we have the same goal. So those other allegations, they are not correct. We have hundreds of clinics in our administration areas, and already we are cooperating with ICRC, we are cooperating emergency hospital, we are cooperating with the United Nations. They are helping us in those, in other NGOs, in our health sanction, in treatment of our injured people. And so these allegations are more politically motivated rather than based on ground realities.
Well, let's just focus on India for a while, Suhail Saab. The fact that you mentioned India and you said that there's misreporting that happens, or for that matter, a certain kind of narrative building from India. I can tell you clearly there's one thing that's very clear, that India really seeks peace in Afghanistan, whether it is with the Taliban returning or not, that the minorities, that the women are protected, that their rights are protected. Having said that, when we talk about Indians in Afghanistan, there is a fear and there is a sense of insecurity. The consulate in Kandahar was evacuated a while ago in July, beginning of July, and today the consulate in Mazar-e-Sharif has been evacuated. There are the concerns that when the Taliban reaches an area, that Indians have to leave from that area. There's a travel advisory for Indians to evacuate from Afghanistan. That's a real concern when it comes to how ties will grow between India and Afghanistan with the Taliban, if these are the fears and insecurity that India has to deal with in the country.
This has two parts of the story, or of the kind. One is belongs to us. We have issued statement that we are committed to the security of all diplomats and embassies in Afghanistan. Not once, but on many occasions and many times, there were remarks by the spokesman of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Mr. Zabihullah Mujahid, and also statements from the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. And the other is the concern of India. They are taking their diplomats from those areas for their own reason, for their own concern and worries. That is up to them. But what was related to us, we have already cleared our position and shown our commitment to the security of all NGO staff and all diplomats and embassies. That's one thing. And the other thing is about women education. We do not have any problem with women having access to education and work. That we have said time and again, but only they are Muslim women, they may have Islamic hijab. That is it. And right now, in areas under our control, the high school, girls' high schools, in universities, where the women also receiving education, they are operative. They have not been restricted from their work and from receiving education. That is practically right now. One can see it, and even we have invited journalists to areas under our controls to see with their own eyes what are going there, and also file reports from there. Even we have invited them to establish their offices there from areas under our control.
Before I go to the Doha talks, just very briefly wanted to understand, within Islam, Suhail Saab, shouldn't even hijab be the right and decision of the woman, a practicing Muslim who wants to or does not want to?
No, hijab is something according to Islam, Muslim women should observe. Yes.
Okay.
So there will maybe about the types of
You're in
hijab.
Kabul, you will not
Yeah.
approve of women who do not wear hijab?
So I say what is a type of hijab, it may be different, but about hijab, this is certain rules that it is different from a Muslim woman with a non-Muslim woman, that a Muslim woman observe the hijab. So as you said, a practicing woman which is abiding by, by the rules of Islam. Abiding by the rules of Islam. So according to that, they have to abide by that and observe the hijab.
Okay, then shifting focus now to India. Are Indians in talks with the Taliban, and at what level?
There were reports about Indian delegation visiting or meeting our delegations. I have seen that, but I can't confirm because that, according to my information, not happened. Yes.
Okay. So you're saying no meeting as of now has happened, even unofficially, in back channel talks. There have been no meetings between the Indian administration officials and the Taliban officials.
Yeah. Yes. Based on my information, not happened.
And would the Taliban consider? Would the good officers of Taliban consider having India as part of the Doha talks?
I think it is very important for India that they, as we have receiving reports that they are supporting the Kabul administration with military hardware, which is used by the administration against their its own people. Right now, we saw in Lashkargah, Helmand province, that hospital was bombed, clinics were bombed, also high school, and also a cotton factory, very old cotton factory from the time of Dawood Khan. It was bombed by the same weapon. So it is very important the impartiality. They should be with the people of Afghanistan rather than a government which is imposed or which came into being a result of occupation. So that is for them to decide whether they are standing with the people of Afghanistan or with a government imposed from foreign capitals.
That's a very interesting example that you give, Suhail Saab, because if you look at the Americans, if you look at NATO forces, if you even look at Pakistan, when they talk to Americans, they talk about supporting the peace process and allowing the Kabul administration, and they have been providing all the support. In fact, if anything, India has supported the least when it comes to military support to Afghanistan. It is America, but yet you're talking to America. It is the NATO forces, and yet you're talking to the international community. So shouldn't India, who is a near neighbor, be a part of the Doha talks?
I say about the reconstruction in Afghanistan and positive steps, which is from done by any country, we appreciate that if it is for the people of Afghanistan. But something that they are helping the Kabul administration against the people of Afghanistan. They are helping in the baseless propaganda against us. So not only now, even in the former Soviet Union time, in the Red Army time, I remember that India was siding with the government in Kabul, while all the people of Afghanistan, they were fighting for liberation of the country. At that time, we gave almost 2 million martyrs for the liberation of the country. So, and even now, for the last 20 years, they are against the people, against the freedom fighters, and with an occupying force. So that is for them to change their position. I think that is the main hurdle, I think.
See, the official line, again, you have been speaking with America, and America has done the very same thing. In fact, if anything, all the more than India. And India's line has always been to engage the administration in Kabul and to ensure that they are part of the peace process rather than a disruptor. But I'm no spokesperson for any government. So I have to ask you this again. As the spokesperson of the Taliban, representing the Taliban in the negotiating team, will we see in the future, having all stakeholders, India being one, in the development projects in Afghanistan, will we see India on the table as well?
So I think that is for the future. But right now, I think they should first of all they establish their impartiality. That would be an important step forward.
Otherwise, there can be no talks with the Taliban unless and until, because they have been trying to engage the Taliban.
So I said when they are fighting on the one side in supporting or providing weapons to the Kabul administration, then
so does America.
Yeah.
So does
America. Yeah, America occupied our country, and they were a party.
And yet you're talking America.
We were a party, and then we talked because they reached the conclusion that there is no military solution, and we also reached the conclusion that there is no military solution to
India has always maintained there can be no
solution to the Afghan issue. Then we came to and decided to resolve the issue through peaceful negotiation, and we reached an agreement. Yes.
Okay. In terms of minorities, the recent incident, Suhail Sahab, of a Gurudwara where the Nishane Sahib was removed and later on was restored. What really happened? Because the report suggests that they were forced and intimidated, which is what the reports from the caretakers of the Gurudwara also were. So we just want clarity on what really happened there and what will happen to minorities, particularly the Sikh community, a very strong community in Afghanistan. What is going to really happen to them should the Taliban be a part of the Kabul administration?
Yeah, of course. First, this narrative spread in media about Gurdwara, it was not correct. It was a baseless claim that members of the Islamic Emirate removed the flag. And they even, when I contacted them, they even didn't know where it is located. You know that. Then when we found the location after a struggle there, and our people went there and asked them why you have taken down the flag. They said we had fears, we had worries that if the flag is there, so someone will notice that and they will harass us. And then they said, it is our policy. We do not harass or put restriction on minorities. You have a right, and you had this right even during our time that there was the ruling of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan all over the country. Then they gave them the contact number. If there is any issue, contact them. And also told them that they can perform their religious ceremonies, rituals as they were doing. There is no problem. And then they, I think, hoisted the flag once again and told them to hoist the flag and have no worry about it.
What about security in the future of the minorities in Afghanistan? Should they be concerned? Because they certainly are concerned.
If they are concerned, that is, I think, baseless concern. There is worries or are not based on realities. If they want us to explain our policies, they can lead their lives, normal lives, or other Afghans. There is no discrimination against them. They can perform their rituals. as they were doing that for years. And as Afghans, they can participate in the service of the people, in reconstruction of Afghanistan, and also in protection and service of the country.
Come September 11th, sir, there are going to be a lot of people who would be going to cover the entire withdrawal of the US forces. Now, there is a fear within the international media of their own security. I ask you this because we in India lost our very own Danish in Afghanistan, and he was reportedly captured and killed by the Taliban. How did that really happen? Was the Taliban not in control? Because later we learned that there was fringe elements who did it, but Taliban nonetheless. So how does one then report facts from the ground when it comes to withdrawal of the US forces and the transition within Afghanistan?
First, Danish Siddiqui was not with us. It was with the Kabul security forces. You can ask them. And secondly, he embedded with their forces without informing us. Our rule is that any journalist who are coming to the scene, he should or she should coordinate with us, inform us. So we will take care that they will not be harmed. But he was with the security forces of the Kabul administration, and they launched attack against us, those forces. And during fighting, he was killed. It is not also known who killed him. So even I heard reports that he was mutilated, but it is our people don't do that. It's against the rules of Islam, you know. And even his body was taken by the Kabul forces, not by us. So how it can be possible?
So the reports say that he went taking shelter in a mosque. He was identified as an Indian, pulled out, then tortured and killed.
No. Our forces, they are strictly instructed not to harass journalists who are doing their job. That is because they are not military people. They are civilians. So that's not our policy.
But is there any sort of, what's the kind of condolence or regret, any, if any, on the killing of Danish Siddiqui, even if he was embedded with the Afghan forces?
I think it was very necessary. You have my WhatsApp. All the journalists have my WhatsApp of Mr. Mujahid and also Dr. Naeem. They have their WhatsApps and other contact number. They may have coordinated very easily if he was to come to Spin Boldak. Even we invited journalists to come to Spin Boldak about some of the claims to see with their own eyes. But he didn't do that. He came with the Kabul security forces. But of course, if a journalist is killed during fighting, it is not good thing that he should be killed. Of course, we do not want that.
Right. Suhail sir, before I let you go, there's hardly any time left. Just wanted to know, again, when it comes to reports that are coming in of children being killed, about 27 in 72 hours, women being killed, some even tortured. These are disturbing reports. There can be no peace if violence against women and children continue in Afghanistan. And most reports suggest that the Taliban, even if it is fringe elements, that the Taliban are carrying out such attacks against minorities and women and children. How does one then find peace and normalcy in Afghanistan?
First, I refute these claims that we are killing women and children. Protection of women and children are one of our goals. We are from the people of Afghanistan. We are not from outside of the country. those who are from the outside of the country, those whose families are still in the foreign countries, they are holding foreign citizens, and they are now sitting in Kabul. They have the heavy weapons and killing the civilians, bombing their houses. But we are not. It is not possible for us. If we do that, then we are not able to live among the people, because our main support is from the people. Otherwise, we will not have any place. So I think these are some of the baseless propaganda and claims that is being carried out by the Kabul administration against us. I report that.
But you did get a lot of support from Pakistan. Could the Taliban have been as strong as it is today and come to an understanding where the US admits that there needs to be talks with the Taliban and negotiations with the Taliban, if not for the support that came in from Pakistan?
That
state support is required or was required.
That is the narrative of the Kabul. If they are not able to face us on the ground, then they are making such claims. Pakistan is our neighbor country. That's true. Our millions of refugees are there in Pakistan. They are living there. But it is not true that they fought the 54 countries of the world, the US, for the last 20 years. It was not possible for Pakistan to fight them and to defeat them. It was the people of Afghanistan, from all walks of life, from all provinces, from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west of Afghanistan, who rose against the occupation and fought them. Now, when they are bringing Pakistan to involve in this war, that is merely allegation, not facts.
Finally, before I let you go, there are many cities at night now where there are blaring sounds of chanting of Allahu Akbar. But most of them are chanting or saying Allahu Akbar against the Taliban administration. There are a lot of videos doing the rounds on social media. Just wanted to know, when you say the Afghan people, there are a lot of the Afghan people who also maybe are not very comfortable with the return of the Taliban. What do you have to say to them? Because they're your people.
You may have seen videos from Nimroz. If you're not seen, I will send it to you. The people are welcoming them, the Mujahideen, and also in other provinces.
But what about those who are not
those who are chanting Allahu Akbar? They are with us. How those who say Allahu Akbar can be with occupation?
Why not?
Because
they can have their own
no. They cannot. They will be.
Every Afghan is a practicing Muslim.
Yeah,
every Afghan.
Yes, every Afghan. If he is practicing Muslim, they are with us. They are with freedom fighters. We are the freedom fighters. We are freeing we are freeing this country from occupation. We have given a lot of sacrifices. You see, please go to the provinces we have already captured, and you can see that the people are very happy.
I've seen videos. But I'm just asking you, of those practicing Afghan Muslims who might not agree with your political viewpoint, who might differ with you, what do you have to say to them? Because they might be scared about their security and the fact that they do not always think, or they do not think on the same lines as you. But they're Afghans and they're Afghan practicing Afghan Muslims.
Yep. Someone have even a different view with us. We provide them security. We have issued statements. Not once, time and again. We are tolerant. We want national unity of Afghanistan. We want a peaceful coexistence with all Afghans. All Afghans with their views, they can lead a normal life. They can participate in the construction of Afghanistan. We do not impose that they should take part in our armed struggle. They can lead their life, and they may have a different opinions and views, and still they be Muslim. That is why they are our people, and we are providing security to them and assure them.
That's really good to know. Finally, before I let you go, what's the Taliban stand vis-a-vis India? How can India play a part within Afghanistan when it comes to development, reconstruction, the infrastructure building that they were involved in? So what's the Taliban stand vis-a-vis India?
So that's up to them. What is their stand against with the people of Afghanistan? I think it is a question to be asked from them.
Okay. On that note, Suhail Shaheen, many thanks for joining us here on India Today. It indeed is a hope and a prayer that Afghanistan finds peace, normalcy, and stability, because as many say, stability in Afghanistan would mean stability and peace in the region. Thank you so much for joining us here on India Today.
Thank you. Thank you.